Although I was an average Star Wars fan who played some of the games like The Force Unleashed and the LEGO Star Wars games, my childhood never experienced any of the Battlefront games made by Pandemic. It wasn't because I hated them when I was a kid, but rather that I never noticed them from where I was at the time, or that I never played a lot of games. Anyway, fast forward to 2018, when I started watching The Act Man for a while. And one of the first few videos that I watched was his review on Battlefront II by Pandemic. At the time, I was curious to try it because, hey, it's a Star Wars game that is pretty cool. But I was broke, so no can do, Act Man. Later, during the Steam summer sale, I saved enough money to buy a $25 Steam gift card, and I purchased a ton of games, including Battlefront 2. So I decided to take the opportunity to review it as a first-time gamer. Before we start the video, I want to let you know that while I do like this game as a Star Wars fan, I want to make this video focusing on what makes Battlefront 2 a great game, period, and not what makes it a great Star Wars game. So, without further ado, this video will not only allow me to finally experience one of the most classic games in history, but it'll also examine the current state of it after 13 years of its launch. While the Battlefront games have a greater focus on multiplayer experiences, that doesn't mean that there isn't a single player mode for players to enjoy. If you want to play some Battlefront 2 but don't got any friends or they're too busy to play anything, then single player is just the right thing for you. Battlefront 2 offers a load of content for you to play offline. With about 3 single player modes, the first one we're going to start with is the campaign. So the story mode contains 2 arcs titled The Fall of the Republic and The Rise of the Empire. The entire campaign revolves around the perspective of a retired veteran clone trooper, narrating his experience fighting in the 501st Legion that took place after the Clone Wars.
Just like the simulation.
Under the rule of Chancellor Palpatine, the 501st was assembled as part of his mission to secure balance in the galaxy. But eventually, he was able to manipulate the Legion to grow the Sith Empire. It ends with the final mission that they have successfully captured the planet Hoth, which leaves the Jedi Order stranded and weak under the shade of the newly formed Republic. The next mode is Galactic Assault, a board game style mode where the aim is to conquer the galaxy by outnumbering the enemy bases and hosted planets. Additionally, you can also strengthen your faction by progressing the game to earn credits, or use bonuses to protect your bases or harm your opponents. Finally, there's Instant Action, a mode that you can create custom playlists of maps and mission types you want to play alone. You can customize the playlist to your preference with the maps preloaded into the game, but you can also import other maps that weren't included in the PC version. Along with that, you can also select which time era certain maps will take place in, which there's the Clone Wars or the Galactic Civil War. You can also adjust the match settings like bots, and so forth. What I liked about the single player campaign was that it puts the players in the boots of a clone trooper coping with the wars and conflicts between the 2 factions. The way that you hear the narration and experience the memories of him is similar to the earlier COD games, where the loading screen holds a journal filled with the recorded journey of the soldier protagonist. Also, the plot isn't quite complex due to the lack of character development and minor world building from establishing the Republic in the galaxy, but it doesn't really matter because it's simple enough to give purpose for playing the game. Both the single player and multiplayer modes all offer a load of spacious maps for you to explore as you carry on in the game. I wouldn't say it's an open world game because you don't actually have an option to freely roam around these maps when you're not playing a mission, but it does still allow enough room during your missions. You can traverse throughout most of the areas in maps like Kashyyyk and fly freely in space battles, and that just makes it more exciting and immersive to play the game. It also provides a good amount of playstyles and mission types to keep things more interesting. On the battlefield, you have 6 classes that are consistent throughout each faction, from the likes of soldiers, heavies, engineers, along with 2 extra classes that vary from faction to faction. These 2 classes, however, are only unlockable through earning points from killing enemies or accomplishing the goals of a match. This isn't bad though, because the point system rewards you for progressing in the game. Moving to the space battles, you only have 2 classes, neither of which are unlockables. Although that seems kinda fair, because space battles are more focused in space than actually playing inside the ships. I mean, you have also the option to protect your ship indoors, and that's fine, but it's just that there's nothing much to unlock except awards. Each map also offers some vehicles just in case walking gets boring. These aren't unlockable either, but that's alright because it would have required way too much grinding, or just grinding alone to unlock a single tank like a TX-130T. There's also an extra difficulty setting called Elite in case you've completed the main campaign on normal mode and are looking for some extra challenge. The normal difficulty mode isn't that bad, but it's just that it felt too easy and wasn't satisfying enough, so it might as well have been called easy mode instead of normal. It's just that the AI was completely broken and really simple to fight against. The missions were so easy that I could complete it without respawning less than 5 times, and Jedi or Sith characters aren't really that interesting to play as because you're just slashing at broken AI, so you'll obviously be overpowered. After I beat the game once on normal mode and played it again just to review the game, I didn't really feel like it was any fun, and I decided to log out of the game save. But then, when I was about to create a new save, I saw this. Could this be the answer I was looking for? Will this make my life any better? And so I created a save on Elite mode and played the first few minutes, and it almost felt like the bots were actually competent and somewhat posed as a threat. The AI was more tactical and wouldn't stop shooting you down. Jedi characters are no longer these unstoppable forces against them, and I tried capturing bases but ended dying up more times than I would. On the contrary, I was looking into whether playing on Elite mode would actually be challenging in the long term, and some people from forums have said that it does get easier when you unlock the special award bonuses after some time of playing through them. It's probably not the hardest mode as the term Elite would be interpreted as, but it does at the very least make things a bit different from the normal mode, so you should definitely try it out. However, the controls when playing on the PC port can be confusing at first. Typical FE games from the likes of COD all use a right click to aim through a scope and a middle button for throwing a grenade or anything similar to a projectile. Battlefront II swaps this so that those used to the original controls would need some more time getting used to it, especially when switching different FPS games. While the multiplayer mode is fun to play online, it was kinda hard to find servers at first. Well, at least on the Steam version. There is an unofficial patch made by SWBF Spy since GameSpy actually shut down their own servers, but I just didn't feel so happy that I had to patch it manually rather than Steam having to do so. Looking at this as someone who plays and reviews games and not a Star Wars fan, I don't really have any problems with how the game looks. For a 2005 game, it obviously doesn't have the most impressive graphics or 3D modeling, but it does look quite timeless. Sure, some of the faces look a bit stretched or of low texture, But you can't blame them for being developed with last gen technology for consoles the likes of PS2 or the original Xbox. Even if I didn't realize that this was originally from one of those consoles but was later ported into the PC, there would be no difference in me liking the graphics. I'm alright with it. It looks fine. In fact, it looks just as good as every other PC game in 2005. The only issue that I have with the game's 3D graphics is that they often tend to clip into the screen when in first person mode. It's not a huge problem with all the classes, but particularly the ones with large guns like the Commander clones. While the soundtrack is nothing like an original score specifically for the game, the movie's versions fit so well with it, and it builds a spectacular musical atmosphere. Even the sound effects from the movies fit within the game. Finally, I kinda like the voice acting as well. Unlike the music and sound effects, they didn't try to reprise most of the characters with the actors in the movies, and that's not a bad thing at all. In fact, I was satisfied with the new cast, but it was mostly because of the Clone Trooper voice actors, and they felt so true to the portrayal roles. Also, they had a really nice set of cheesy lines, and I really enjoyed them a lot. Although the game has some flaws and bugs due to its outdated nature, it still executes its greatest feats decently. It makes playing single player and multiplayer sessions equally worthwhile, allows some variety and challenge for many players, and feels timeless for its memorable voice acting and impressive 3D modeling for an early 2000s game. Battlefront 2 is a great game that's worth enjoying for players the likes of Star Wars diehard fans, the veteran FPS players, or even those that just want to play multiplayer as a noob. Hell, I'm not even one of those skilled FPS gamers, but I still had some fun playing it. It's a shame that Pandemic was shut down by EA, unfortunately, but I'm really glad we had some skilled people in the team.